Good morning, friends. We at A to J Tax Corp LLP now starting with knowledge capsule. This knowledge capsule pertaining to service tax applicability on any service provided by government or local authority to business entity applicable from 1st April 2016. Let's first understand the background. Any service provided by government or local authority is a negative list of services under section 66D subclause A of the Finance Act 1994, except there are 4 subclauses which are exclusion from the negative list of any service provided by government or local authority. Roman 1. Any service provided by Department of Post, by Speed Post, Parcel Post, life insurance or agency services provided to a person other than government. Roman 2. Any service provided in relation to aircraft or vessel inside or outside the precincts of airport or port. Roman 3. Transport of goods or passengers. Roman 4. Support services provided by government or local authority except Roman 1 to Roman 3 to business entity. It is exclusion clause from the negative list. Now, support services provided by government or local authority to business entity is under reverse charge mechanism by notification number 30/2012, except renting of immovable property or services as specified under section 66D subclause A Roman 1 to Roman 3 as discussed just while ago. Last year budget 2015, government wanted to substitute support services by any services. Now, the support services got substituted by any service effective from 1st April 2016 by notification number 6/2016 dated 18th February 2016. So, effectively now support is getting substituted by any service provided by government or local authority to business entity effective from 1st April 2016. At the same time, one new exemption entry got inserted in mega exemption notification 25/2012, and this entry says any service provided by government or local authority to business entity having turnover up to 10 lakh rupees in preceding financial year, that would be exempted. This is one entry which was provided on 18 February effective from 1st April 2016. Thereafter, Union Budget 2016 has also amended reverse charge notification 30/2012 by notification number 18/2016 dated 1st March 2016, whereby support is getting substituted by any service, thereby meaning coming out now any service provided by government or local authority to business entity is under reverse charge except renting of immovable property or services defined under section 66D subclause A Roman 1 to Roman 3. So, effectively reverse charge applicable in the hands of business entity from 1st April 2016. Now, big question which is coming up before all of us, what is meaning of any service? Government provide number of sovereign function, regulatory services and charge fees and taxes. Whether all services provided by government or local authority to business entity would be under reverse charge? This was the big question, and it would be of your interest to know why government has made such substitution. Government intention was to levy service tax on assignment of right to use of natural resources like coal mining right, like telecom right 2G, 3G, 4G. And keeping this particular fact in mind, they wanted to propose new entry in Declare Service 66E of Finance Act. Subclause J is supposed to be inserted. So any service by way of assignment by government of right to use of radio frequency spectrum would be considered as a declared service and chargeable to service tax. Effectively, what was the government intention? They wanted to levy service tax declaring it service. Now big question comes up in terms of Article 366 29A. These are deemed sale also. So Pandora box is being opening up in terms of dispute arise whether service tax applicable or VAT applicable because it is a deemed sale in terms of Article 366 29A. Having said that, now let's move what is covered in any service. Any service is a too wider a definition. So government provide number of services which includes passport, birth certificate, death certificate, visa, ROC, fees is being paid for filing forms, and then we got PF, ESI inspection charges, motor vehicle registration charges, number of services provided by government or local authority to business entity. Question comes whether service tax would be applicable. If you read the definition of service, which is very clear, any activity carried out by a person for another for consideration is a service and service tax applicable unless it is excluded from the service definition or falling into negative list or otherwise exempted by mega exemption notification 25/2012. So there was a debate and dispute going on what all services now would be covered for reverse charge liability in the hands of business entity. Having said that, now government has come out with the new entry in mega exemption notification 25/2012 which got amended by 22/2016, 13th April 2016. Now entry 39 got amended in mega exemption notification, and from entry 54 to 63 got inserted new entry specifying these all services provided by government or local authority will not be chargeable to service tax because these are exempted. What entry 39 says? Entry 39 says any service provided by government or local authority or governmental authority to perform function entrusted to the municipality in terms of Article 243W to the Constitution of India. Entry 54 to 63 got inserted, which includes any service provided by government or local authority to another government or local authority would be exempted except service specified under section 66D subclause A Roman 1 to Roman 3. Any service provided for passport, visa, driving license, birth certificate, death certificate exempted. Any service provided for which gross consideration charge is less than 5,000 rupees for continuous supply of services in terms of Rule 2C of the POT Rule 2011. For a financial year, gross consideration should not exceed 5,000 rupees. Tolerating non-performance of a contract, so fine and compensation received by government will not be chargeable to service tax. Otherwise, it is falling under 66E subclause E of Finance Act under declared services. Thereafter, any services provided by way of registration under any law for the time being in force, or testing, safety, calibration test or certification so as to protect and safeguard workers, consumer, general public at large will not be taxable. Any services provided by way of assignment of right to use of natural resources to individual farmer will not be taxable. Any service provided by way of assignment of natural resources for which contract entered prior to 1st April 2016, service tax will not be applicable. Only upfront or installment payment, not the periodic payment, monthly or annual. So they talk about only the upfront payment towards assignment of right to use of natural resources prior to 1st April 2016. Thereafter, it says any service provided by government or local authority to perform functions entrusted to panchayat in terms of 243G of Article Constitution of India. Any service provided by deputation of officer after office hours or on holidays for inspection verification of import export container by way of MOT charges paid, it would be exempted. So these are inclusive exempted list of services on which service tax not applicable, but we request all the viewers to pay attention. Kindly run through entry 54 to 63 of mega exemption to understand and determine what all services service tax is exempted. Now going further, as we all know, any service provided by government or local authority to business entity is under reverse charge. Business entity has to pay service tax under reverse charge from 1st April 2016. So reverse charge POT would be applicable. In terms of Rule 7 of POT rules, reverse charge generally is a date of payment, provided payment is made within 3 months from date of invoice. If payment is not made within 3 months from date of invoice, then date following the end of 3 months would be the POT. But there is corresponding change for any service provided by government or local authority to business entity. A proviso got inserted, and this proviso says POT would be earliest of the following. What are the 2 points earliest of the following? Any payment which is either in full or part becomes due on an invoice raised for providing such services. So due date of payment or date of payment whichever is earlier, that would be POT. So this is the exception to the general rule of date of payment. To understand this provision well, let's take an example so that we can understand. Today I am on 16th April 2016, being government providing service assignment of right to use of natural resources to business entity, and I am raising invoice today on 16th April for first upfront payment 50% payment which is due on 30th April 2016, and balance 50% got deferred and to be paid after 3 years. Let's say it is due now on 30th April 2019. Let's decide POT for upfront payment and deferred payment. For upfront payment, due date is 30th April. Let's say business entity makes the payment on 6th May 2016. Then what would be the earliest due date? 30th April. Date of payment 6th May. So 30th April would be the POT for reverse charge liability in the hands of business entity. What about deferred payment which is due on 30th April? Let's assume the payment is made on 20th April 2019. So in that scenario, what is earliest date of payment? 20th April 2019 would be the POT. In terms of this proviso got inserted in POT rule wide notification number 24/2016 amending the POT rules 2011. Let's move. There is another change which is coming under service tax determination valuation rule 2006. It is duly amended by notification number 23/2016 dated 13 April 2016. And what it says, there is rule 6 sub rule 2 Roman 4. It clearly says that any interest paid on delayed payment of consideration for provision of services or sale of property, movable or immovable, will not be included in gross consideration for the chargeability of service tax. But a proviso got inserted. Now what this proviso says, if any service provided by government or local authority and some payment gets deferred on payment of interest or some other consideration, that interest or other consideration would be includable in gross consideration for the chargeability of service tax. So exclusion coming in from the exception clause. So to understand well, let's move. In a given example we discussed just while ago, balance 50% which got deferred on 30th April 2019, it was at interest cost of 10%. So what happened? You would be paying balance payment on 20th April 2019 but with interest of 10%. This interest would be included in gross consideration for the chargeability of service tax in terms of Service Tax Determination Valuation Rule 2006. Having discussed all these parameters, there would be interesting point, sandwich credit. How you would be availing sandwich credit? When you pay reverse charge liability. Of course, for reverse charge liability, the eligible document would be tax challan in terms of Rule 9(1)(e) of Sandwich Credit Rules 2004. So as and when you pay the service tax liability, your tax challan would be the requisite document to avail the credit. So when you pay upfront and pay the service tax, take the credit, but credit criteria is being defined under Rule 4, Sub-Rule 7 of Sandwich Credit Rules. For that, we have created separate knowledge capsule on changes in Sandwich Credit Rules. I request our viewers to watch that particular knowledge capsule to understand how Sandwich Credit would be available of service tax paid on assignment of right to use of natural resources by government, local authority or any other person. With this, we have tried to explain the concept of service tax applicability of service provided by government or local authority to business entity. But there may be some query and confusion in your mind. We welcome. In case you are having any query, you can write back to us. We'll try to respond back to your query. Thanks for watching this knowledge capsule, and I'm sure you must have delighted to understand the provision explained in a very layman language. But if you want any kind of improvement or further suggestion for improvisation of our knowledge capsule, please do come back to us. Thank you very much.